Ladies and gentlemen, today is the 1st of November 2025. New months, new energy, new blessings, and let's make it work. And of course, it's new months for our very own Super Eagles. They are going to check out some interesting and exciting updates from their camp ahead of this mini tournament scheduled to take place in Morocco. Before I do that, let's show love to this platform and video by liking and sharing to other social media platforms. If you are new on this platform, subscribe to the channel. Hit on the post notification bell for more updates. And as usual, my name is Solomon Kodja Sante, your only nomenclature with engineers philosophy in sports, a Ghanaian who has declared his full support for Nigeria sports with a Nigerian name, the only one, Solomon Chuku Emeka. Please do also leave your decent comments in the comment box for special shoutouts in my subsequent videos. And no more, straightforward, let's get into the video and start from the camp of our very own Super Eagles of Nigeria ahead of the mini tournament scheduled to take place in Morocco from the 13th to the 16th of November 2025. Talking of the CAF 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers playoffs. And we have some piece of good news coming in from the team's camp. The first piece of good news is that on the 13th of November 2025, exactly 4 p.m. Ghana time, 5 p.m. Nigeria time, Nigeria, the Super Eagles, will face Gabon, the Panthers, at the Prince Moulay El Hassan Sports Complex in Rabat, Morocco. And if Nigeria is able to progress to the grand finale stage of this mini tournament, they will be playing at the same venue, talking of the Prince Moulay El Hassan Sports Complex. That is going to be an advantage for them over their opponents, be it Cameroon or DR Congo. So that is the latest and the first piece of good news from the camp of our very own Super Eagles. Now let's talk about other piece of good news surrounding the team. The first or the second one, let me put this one as the second one, coming in from the camp of Raphael Onyedika. Raphael Onyedika missed out on the last two matches for the Super Eagles in the CAF 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Lesotho and that of Benin Republic because of hamstring injury. And he picked this hamstring injury at the last week of September 2025 against Westerlo Football Club for his club side, Club Brugge. According to the latest reports coming in, this is official communique from his club side, Club Brugge. They've confirmed his fitness for action in subsequent matches. So if everything be as they've reported, he's back in action for his club side, Club Brugge, and is going to be back in action for the Super Eagles of Nigeria ahead of this mini tournament. So that is the second piece of good news surrounding the Super Eagles. The third piece of good news is coming in from the camp of Samu Chuku. I have recently reported about his doubts around the availability for the Super Eagles and this mini tournaments. And according to the latest reports from his coach, he has spoken out during the pre-match conference ahead of their game against Wolves in the EPL. Marco Silva has stated that Samu Chuku has reported to full-scale training and is ever ready in representing a club side, Fulham Football Club, if everything go as planned and per the reports and communication from his club side, per what the coach said, meaning he is back to full fitness and is going to feature for his club side Fulham, same as the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So that is the third piece of good news surrounding the Super Eagles team. Aside that, Ola Aina, he's still progressing from his injury, and I think he might come out quickly than what we even expected because Coach Dean Dyke has spoken about his latest development, and according to him, he's progressing fast. And if everything go as planned, he might even come in to play for the Super Eagles at the AFCON tournament scheduled to take place in Morocco from the 21st of December 2025 to the 18th of January 2026. So that is also another piece of good news, but it's not surrounding the Super Eagles ahead of this mini tournament, but surrounding the Super Eagles ahead of the AFCON tournament. Now, let me also talk about Chidozie Awaziam. I spoke about him receiving letter of provisional invitation. As to whether you make the final cut for this mini tournament, we don't know unless the official squad has been released. And as we've all seen from his recent game against AS Monaco, to about 15 minutes to end proceedings, he was forced off the pitch. We saw him limping, and according to other reports coming in, it's not as serious as we are anticipating. So if everything is worked as planned, He's going to feature for the Super Eagles in the upcoming mini tournament in Morocco. So these are some of the doubts around the availability of some key players. And I know I've already spoken about Teron Murphy, Felix Agu, Ola Aina, Cyril Tesses, Priscilla Udele Bashiru missing out on this mini tournament. Now let's talk about Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi has had lengthy interview on CNN, and according to Alex Iwobi, he has made up several revelations, but the highlight of his revelation is about Super Eagles World Cup ambition. We are very eager in qualifying to USA, Canada, and Mexico. According to Alex Iwobi, they've managed to rescue themselves from the dead. They were going from how things happened, but this is the time they've come back into alive. And since they've come back into alive, they have the players, they have the ability to compete any other country in the world when it comes to any encounter. Let's enjoy this bit of moments with CNN from Alex Iwobi. I'll be back with some interesting and exciting updates from the camp of the Super Eagles.
About Nigeria as well, bit of a bumpy ride with them.
Yeah.
Playoffs, perhaps.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the journey.
Of course, like, it's not always smooth sailing. We started off the World Cup qualifiers not great, but we've managed to rescue ourselves from the dead. That's what our manager, Eric Chelle, always says. We were basically dead and we resurrected, so we've given ourselves another chance. We've got a playoff against Gabon. If we beat them, it's against Cameroon and Congo, 3 great nations. But we all have that same goal. We want to play for the World Cup, so we know it's not going to be easy, but all we can do is fight and give ourselves the best chance to try and qualify.
How important is it to qualify, given that the Super Eagles have a rich tradition in the World Cup? They were one of the first African nations to be at the big event. How important is that in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important considering, like, we know we have the players and the abilities to compete against any other country in the world. So we showcased it in the AFCON last year. We were obviously runners-up, unfortunate not to win. So if we're able to compete in Africa, we should be able to compete in the world. We've got last year's African best player, the year before that again, and we know that we have a lot of quality in our team, so it's only right. We feel like we should be there. But there's one thing saying it, you have to work hard to get there. So yeah, it'll be a shame if we don't make it, but we have a lot of confidence. We just have to prove it to ourselves.
Still in the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, let me talk about this player on your screens. His name is David Moses. David Moses was born on the 20th of January 2004. Currently, he's just 21 years of age. He plays his club football for Slavia Prague in Czech Republic. Predominantly, he plays as a central midfielder. He can play as a right back, same as a right midfielder. This season so far, in about 14 games, he's yet to score, but he has assisted once for his club side. If you are still not getting to know who David Moses is, let me talk about his exploits with his club side, Slavia Prague, in the UEFA Champions League. So far, they've played against Bodo Glimt, they've played against Inter Milan and against Atalanta Calcio. He was on bench for the first 2 matches, talking of Bodo Glimt and that of Inter Milan. And in the last game against Atalanta Calcio, he played 68 minutes for Slavia Prague. That is the Nigerian player I'm talking about, David Moses. According to reports from one of the reliable football insider, Rudy Gatsili, he has spoken at length, and according to his words and write-up, Nigerian Football Federation officials have been tracking who this player is, and so far, they have been encouraged with his development, same as maturity as Slavia Prague, based on the progress for the Super Eagles team. Eric Sekuchel is monitoring this player, and his first call-up into the Super Eagles team ahead of this mini tournament is firmly under serious consideration. So he might also get call-up to represent the Super Eagles as one of the new players or new faces in the Super Eagles team. Looking at his reputation, it is growing significantly at his club side. Scouts from the Bundesliga, scouts from the EPL, and scouts from the Serie A and other top clubs are still monitoring his progress at Slavia Prague. And I think going forward or subsequently, if he continues to play as he is playing for his club side, wow, what a midfielder he will be for his club side, same as his national team, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. He doesn't need any nationality switch. He just left Nigeria to Europe, and so far you've seen his explosiveness for his club side, Slavia Prague in Czech Republic. We know him to dictating the pace and also very composed under pressure. These are some of the attributes that have lured Eric Sekuchel, head coach of the Super Eagles, same as some officials of the Nigerian Football Federation. So that is the latest coming up. Let me just authenticate this with the write-up from this reliable football insider, Rudy Galetti. According to Rudy Galetti, he stated all these write-ups on his official website. Nigeria is monitoring Slavia Prague midfielder David Moses ahead of the upcoming international matches. Nigeria is closely watching David Moses as it prepares for important international fixtures in November. The Super Eagles will face Gabon. We all know what he has written. And he just proceeded with these words. Officials from the Nigerian Federation have been following Moses' recent performances, including his strong display for Slavia Prague against Atalanta in the UEFA Champions League. His quality in midfield and ability to control the tempo impressed scouts and national team staff. Head coach Eric Chelle is now seriously considering calling the 21-year-old midfielder for the upcoming matches. Even if Moses does not make the squad this time, a call-up for the African Cup of Nations preparations in December is seen as very likely. At the club level, as I've already spoken about him, other clubs from Europe, top 5 leagues, are still monitoring his progress. And that is this. I needed to buttress it with evidence for you to know that we just don't come and sit here to talk, but we come here with all the exclusives, authenticating it with the evidences that you know. I was being supported by my hardworking chief editor, Emmanuel Kwame Asedu, and my amazing graphic designer, Dominic. Before I take a leave of you, let me give special shout out to these amazing commenters under my previous videos. Bishop Awodeyi, I do appreciate your support. Mr. Purpose International, I do appreciate your support. Kelvin Okoye, I do appreciate your support. Special shout out to Uyi Ogbepo, I do appreciate your support. Special shout out to Fico Multi Services, I do appreciate your support, boss. Ekoro Christopher, I do appreciate your support, boss. Special shout out to my boss. Ijoma Love, I do appreciate your support. Ernest, I do appreciate your support. Johnson Shola, I do appreciate your support. To other cherished viewers on this platform. Until you meet in the next one, it's bye for now.